Hey guys, what's up? It's Vic here with Strikers Reptiles. In one of our previous videos, we did a quick breakdown of the husbandry we use for our African soft-furred rats or multis. In this video, we're going to show you exactly what we do to breed them. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so in our last video, we already talked about the diet that we use for our African soft-furred rats. We use an 18% rodent lab block to feed them. Now nursing females as well as freshly weaned babies will take the opportunity to eat more protein if you allow them. So one of our favorite ways to do that is by offering them insects. So we've got a bunch of superworms right now for our bearded dragons. We offer those to them and our females are going totally crazy on them right now. As a matter of fact, I think the male is the only one not eating one. So we offer more protein and that helps them when producing milk as well as the young and growing weans. We also like to keep our African soft-furred rats at an ideal ratio for breeding. We like to have at least 3 females per male, which is what we have right now. We got our 1 male right here, and we got our 3 females next to him. We like to have a ratio of at least 3 females per male, up to 6 females per male. Some people use even more. And the reason for that is because if there are too few females, a male will often overbreed, and that can lead to problems like fighting and just not breeding, and a less happy colony overall. So the next thing we want to talk about is selecting our breeders. So these are some of the nicest African soft-furred rats we've ever worked with. Not all of them are this nice, and the only way to end up with breeders this nice, along with obviously making sure that the person you buy from has nice stock, is to ensure that you hold back the nicest of their babies to make them the next generation of breeders. A lot of African soft-furred rats will run across the cage to bite you, especially when they have babies. When you go to a breeder and you're planning on buying breeding stock, it's best to have the breeder pick them up, show them to you. If they don't want to touch them and they're like, no, you grab them, chances are you're going to be working with a line that's not very friendly, and if you have a choice, it's always better to work with nicer ones. Obviously these aren't pets, we breed them as feeders, but still nobody wants to reach their hand in the cage and be getting their finger chomped off. So along with selecting for temperament, we also select our breeders for size. Some of the African soft-furred rats we've worked with would hit about 40 to 50 grams and pretty much stop growing after that. These easily hit 60 to 80 grams within just a couple months of weaning, and that's ideal for us because that makes a better sized meal for an adult ball python. An important note when breeding African soft-furred rats is that unlike some other species of rodents, once your group has bred, these social animals will become highly territorial. They will no longer be able to be mixed with other groups of African soft-furred rats. If I were to try and introduce another adult ASF right now, this entire bin would descend into chaos. Basically, they'll chase, bite, and eventually kill any basically non-family member that's introduced to the cage. So as soon as your African soft-furred rats have been bred, you can't bring in any other adults. The only way to mix groups is to mix them together shortly after they've been weaned. So noting that, you can basically never take the male out of the African soft-furred rat colony. Now with regular rats and mice, people will rotate the male so that they can give their females a break from being bred. With African soft-furred rats, that's not possible or necessary. If you take the male out for even a day, there's a chance he'll be attacked when you put him back in. So essentially, your females are going to be perpetually pregnant. This is how they live in the wild, and it seems to have no negative effect on their fertility or long-term health. So this pile of babies that you see right here is ranging from 5 days to 2.5 weeks old. These babies wean at approximately 4.5 weeks old, during which time they'll be ready to go away from their mother. After that, it takes anywhere from 60 to 100 days to reach breeding age and begin to drop their first litters. Now, once an African soft-furred rat becomes pregnant, her gestation period is around 4 weeks. So once you have a breeding age female that's living with a male, you'll basically get babies every 4 weeks for the rest of her breeding life. Females are usually impregnated within just a couple of hours of giving birth, and they usually don't go through menopause until about 9 to 12 months, at which point they will stop dropping babies. So once your babies reach about that 4.5-week age where they're ready to be weaned, you're going to want to take them out. The reason for that is that at about that time, you'll be getting some new pinkies, and if you leave the 4-week-old babies in with their younger siblings, they'll often trample them and outcompete them for milk, which can lead to a higher mortality rate for the new pinkies. Another important factor to note is that once babies are born, all the mothers in the group will take turns taking care of them. You'll usually lose track of who gave birth to who, because as you can see with this mother, she's pretty much nursing all 22 babies at once. The reason they're called multimammates, as a matter of fact, is because they have many nipples. That's basically what the Latin translation is. They have a lot more nipples than regular mice and rats. Because of that, they can nurse a lot of babies at once. Alright guys, that's our video. We'll be doing another one soon on why we prefer African soft-furred rats to other rodents, as well as a little bit on our theories about whether or not African soft-furred rats are addictive. A lot of people say that feeding them to snakes will lead to a snake becoming totally dependent. We have some footage we'll be creating that says otherwise. So thank you guys very much. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.